your ball in the trees and then you lip out the putt. But if you've got a little time, then come and spend it with us, 'cause now you're listening to the Rough Cut.
Hello, and welcome down to the Rough Cut Golf Podcast in an absolutely mad, bonkers, crazy week in the world of our beloved and sometimes nonsense sport. I am joined here by Mick, I am joined here by Kieran, and I am joined here by Jake, and my wonderful co-hosts on this very warm, very toasty Wednesday, where we have convened an emergency podcast on one of the biggest changes happening in men's professional golf within our lifetime. Events which we were promised would never come to pass have, well, come to pass. Before we get on to the definitely not merger between LIV and the PGA Tour and the DP World Tour, let's cross off a few things that we have had going on and just general life news. Gents, how are we?
Yeah, very good. It's been a funky week. Very funky.
It's been
yeah,
absurd this week. Lots of travelling. It's so flaming warm in here.
So hot. I've literally got flip-flops on. So hot.
Kieran walked through the door this morning and replaced his trainers and socks with a pair of sandals.
I literally came prepared today.
Because you're not allowed to drive in flip-flops, are you, mate?
No, you're not.
No, well, safety first. Kieran, first ever time.
Oh, wow. God,
Coming from the man who drives with his knees.
Yeah. And I did say you were prepared. I did come in here and there was like one trainer there. The socks were on there.
Oh, that's no surprise
like thrown over there.
Much like Kieran's home, I imagine.
Oh, it's actually very good, thank you very much.
Is it?
Yeah.
Are you a tidy lad?
Yeah, I am a very tidy lad.
Well, that's good to know.
That's because his mum's been staying with the last couple of days.
Exactly. Shout out Tess.
Exactly. I do remember drinking with your mum in the pub and she told me exactly what your flat was like when she went into it.
That time was a great.
That time doesn't count.
That was an anomaly. That's not
that's
normally like that.
No, that time doesn't
great.
count, of course. No. Oh, dear. Yeah, so, I mean, I've literally hot-footed it back from Scotland today. Just smashed 4 hours in the car. Only a 20-minute charge.
Yeah.
On the car.
Wow.
Yeah, very, very impressed. And it wasn't like a super fast charger as well. But I took the Galashiels Road.
Right.
Which is a road basically going from North Berwick pretty much all the way until the A74, whatever the motorway is, the M6, kind of near, what's the lake called? Middle of Scotland anyway.
Right.
I lost track of time as I was going 70 down that road.
Wow.
Heavy braking. But the best thing about it was the wonderful BMW iX that I have. When you brake, it recharges the battery.
Yeah, I was going to say, is it one of those ones that recharges it when you brake? So that's good.
I managed to go 30 miles without losing any charge in the
Amazing.
battery.
Wow,
that's
very
cool.
good.
Literally the best thing ever.
Well done you, and well done BMW.
Yeah,
also.
when we go up to Dundalk next, we need to take that road. Is that the same road?
You guys
We're
will
going the wrong way.
Not cope well in the back of that, the way I was driving.
Yeah,
okay.
you two are some seasick ponies, aren't you?
Yeah.
I'm usually absolutely fine, but there's just one road that if we don't go all the way up to Glasgow and then across, we go kind of like the back roads, the country roads.
God,
wow.
Through San Quaha.
Do you know what's
Yeah.
nuts? Is that you two are the most country out of all of us, and you two can't hack country roads.
I don't know what it is. No, usually absolutely fine, but it's sat at the back of this.
Go on horseback.
No, but it's also
It's a car all the
it's
time.
also just a very heavy car, and like you just get thrown about.
We're swaying. We've got bags
He doesn't hit the
between us,
apex
like-
right.
No,
He's just like
do
going
you know
about.
why?
driving.
No,
Did you
do you
hear
know
that?
why it is? Because every time you look back, they're like this on the phone.
That's
So
true.
every time they go around the corner, they get a bit of like displacement. They're like,
That
oh
is
yeah, I don't
not-
feel that
that
good.
is not true.
With Kieran, it's like,
That is so true.
With Kieran, it's like, where's my third phone?
yeah, that's
He's actually got
true.
three
Yeah.
to like
Yeah.
go across the whole time.
I
And I
remember
have
the
the
first time-
laptop as well.
Yeah, the first time we went up and you were feeling ill is because you're watching Love Island in the back.
Oh,
Love Island's back, everyone.
Love Island is back. Hope
Yeah.
everyone's watching it.
Is
by the
it
way.
is it as incredible as it always has been?
It's
Don't give
always it's always good.
Don't
always
give in.
good.
Lauren has it on when she gets ready in the morning, so she doesn't watch it in the evening, but she'll watch it in the morning.
Yes,
and
I
I
love
find
that.
myself like, getting ready for the day, getting dressed, and I'm like, are they arguing again?
Yeah.
She's like, oh, you're getting interested now. I'm like, no. I refuse.
Yeah.
I refuse to get sucked into the portal of Love Island hatred.
Yeah. Well, I would obviously recommend if you want to binge watch anything, it's the wonderful videos that we create here.
Wow, very good, very good.
So-
Superb segue. Love that.
I mean, not only are there lots of wonderful videos already? There's been quite a few that have come out recently, which I say were fairly wonderful.
Yeah, well, I think since the last video we've had the best golfer in YouTube match at Dundonald versus Hannah Holden.
Wow.
We've had the best course in Europe officially, Quinta del Lago.
Yep.
And also the PXG driver, which was a surprise to everyone present. And I'm sure if you've watched it already, a surprise to the millions of people at home. If you haven't watched it, my, oh my. We've had some interesting developments in the last day. Kieran will expertly throw up a picture of my driver, my Stealth 2 Plus, which yet again has had its face pop out. It's happened twice now.
Yeah.
Like the first time, fair enough, it can happen. Driver faces can get damaged. For it to happen twice, the same thing with the same driver model, I think there's a bit of an issue there. Like this happens quite a bit. I remember like Wilson brought out some irons. I think the original D7 maybe, but they had lots of speed pockets.
Oh, okay.
They weren't called speed pockets because TaylorMade had kind of trademarked that name.
They've got that, yeah.
Yeah, it was basically
spelled no O's and no E's. That seems to be Wilson's thing, isn't it?
it was like a way to hollow out the club head to save weight, and the club face kept kind of collapsing.
Yeah.
And it does happen. Like different clubs, they break. There are faults in manufacture, and I'm not saying that is the case with the Stealth 2 Plus, but like the face has popped out twice.
Yeah,
now.
I'm also not saying that it's a problem.
That's popped out twice now, and I've had quite a few people message me saying they've had the same issue.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, people on the internet
Yeah.
don't always trust them at face
You
value.
can always
true,
find
yeah.
someone on the internet who's had the same problem you've got.
Yeah,
So.
exactly. So we're going to dig into that a little bit more, try and find out if this is an issue which is kind of happening to other people as well. But yeah, it's been a bit of an odd one.
But the PXG video and the filming of it came along at like a really strange time where you were kind of, we had seen from the kind of video evidence that the Stealth 2 was maybe a little bit wayward and maybe out of the toe wasn't brilliant. And then the PXG came along and we tested it. You tested it quite a lot and really, really liked it. And then this Stealth 2 debacle 2.0 breaks. And now that the PXG kind of had that was its moment.
Yeah, but the most annoying thing was the Stealth 2 Plus. We all found once I put that back in the bag was performing better than the PXG.
That's definitely your best driver.
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
just like
it was being better. It was so, and that's what's so annoying because I was playing with it and I was railing on it. I was hitting some absolute beasts. I've just been up to Renaissance in Scotland. Course is nice and dry, and I was launching some. Like they were flying miles. The one I hit, the one that broke it. Well, the first time the face popped out at Belfry, remember I had that low spinning one?
Yeah,
it was
yeah.
like, that's just
Really
weird.
weird, yeah.
Well, I hit another one of those, but this time it got a little bit up in the air and it reached the crest of a hill on like a par 5 downwind.
Right.
It went about 400 yards. So I was like, I'm not even bothered
Not
about
thinking
it.
anything. Yeah.
Not gonna
I
think
wish
about
they
it.
could break every time.
And then I pulled it out on the next tee and swung pretty hard at it, and it came out. And it was one of those where I looked up and I was like, where's the ball gone? And I almost like looked around at everyone else and they were looking 120 yards left.
Yeah, really.
And it was like flying 3 holes away. And I was like, that is not the result of that swing.
It's
Like,
also, that's not my normal miss.
yeah. And then I looked down the face and literally half of it's popped out. I'm like,
Yeah.
no.
Because it's gone in stages now. Because the first one was sort of like a subtle crack and then just maybe kind of displaced off the face, and this one now is fully
All
off.
the way out.
proper off, yeah.
Do you reckon it's too many drivers off the deck?
I was just about to say that.
Yeah.
That is very weird.
We did hit quite a few at Royal Liverpool.
Do you
That's
think that if you reduce the amount of drivers off the deck or driver off the decks,
drive?
I don't know which is the plural.
DODs.
DODs.
Yeah.
Do you reckon that maybe would have survived slightly longer?
That should not be a consideration.
Yeah.
No, it shouldn't.
Well,
but
maybe
maybe
it's
it's the
not.
truth.
If that is something that TaylorMade haven't put through a rigorous testing protocol, then you know what, that's not my problem.
Yeah, that's true.
Maybe exactly that it. They've just thumped too many shots off a tee and they haven't put the ball on the ground and they haven't realised what's going to happen when
they
you
haven't
whack
taken
it off the floor.
They haven't taken any devots with that thing.
Well, we'll have to see. Talk about whacking it off the ground. I hear you had a good cricket game the other day. This is a golf podcast. We're not, if you're not a fan of cricket, we're only going to linger on this for a short amount of time. But Jacob was hitting some absolute monster sixes, I believe.
Do you know what's Jacob played cricket for his local cricket team yesterday. We went to watch.
We did.
Tess
yeah.
came out. We took
David as
David.
well.
We took the
The whole
dog.
fan club.
It was so
My
good.
grandpa was there.
Your grandpa was there.
Yeah, everyone was there.
Yeah, it was really good. And Jacob played for his local cricket team. You didn't win, which
No.
was a bit disappointing, but
Yes.
Jacob's innings, you batted first.
Well, the team batted second, but I
Yeah.
opened up the batting. Yeah.
You opened up, and God, it was. You know when you have one of those days where you're like, I actually don't think I can do anything wrong, like on the golf course, or you just
No,
have.
but yeah, carry on.
That was what it was like. Like everything he touched just went. It was amazing. It was so good.
Do you want to
Thank
go any
you.
deeper, or is it?
So what was the score? What did you
Yeah.
actually
Oh, no,
So I scored 77. It was in a 2020 game, so we were chasing 189, and I think we finished about 20 or 30 runs short. But I opened up
Yeah.
and got 77 off.
Wow, everyone else must have been absolutely crap that day.
Yeah, well, it was sort of falling onto my shoulder slightly, but
See.
yeah,
that's
I
cool.
was. The only thing I was just happy that I did something and people were there to see it.
Yeah.
Got you. Okay.
That was the best thing about it. And Mick was my main fan
Mick
on the
was
side, like
literally
screaming every
Mick was,
time.
Mick was like he was at a derby. Like it was like he was at a derby game, like shouting all the time. Like
Could it
cricket's
make it
not-
more enjoyable?
It did make it more.
It did.
For me,
yeah,
it did.
No, it was
There
good.
you
It was
go.
good.
Yeah, I'm glad you enjoyed it,
Yeah, I
and
had
I'm
a
glad
great
that
time.
I'm glad that I performed on the stage. really.
With your kids, Mick, are you like the embarrassing dad
Yes.
on the side?
At sports day, my how old is he now? 5, about to be 6. Ezra was like, Daddy got to run in the dad's race. And I was like, oh God, like he's told everyone that I'm an athlete. Like for a long time I did run and like did it. I did running to the same level that you did cricket.
From the
So-
law mostly, but
Yeah. So I ran for my county and, club athletics and stuff, and have always been running while the boys have been growing up. So he had told everyone at school that I was a runner and that I was going to win the dad's race at sports day. And I was like, oh, good Lord. So I turned up like running shoes, like prepared, and then absolutely boxed everyone by about 10 meters in the dad's sprint. So
Love it.
it was worth it. And yes, I am the embarrassing father at sports day. It's the point. The point of having kids is to embarrass them in front of their friends.
I
wouldn't
did
know
not know
yet,
that.
but-
Yeah.
I'll hopefully come to that at some point. I don't know.
It's
Yeah,
great.
I like it.
It's so fun.
Very, very good.
Dude, it's so fun.
Very good.
And
No.
that was what it was like watching you, because you're also like my child.
Right. Okay.
So I had to support you with the same vigor.
The 5-6 year age gap between us is sufficient enough for a father-son
It's more than
relationship.
that, isn't it?
Well, those are the really important 6 years, I feel.
Yeah.
Yeah. You'll grow up.
There's a lot of learning to be
yeah,
done.
yeah, those are very, very. They're the cresting years. Those ones.
Wow. Talking about a lot of learning to be done. If you are, I don't know, we're going to segue that.
You could have done
I was
it.
going to say a lot of learning to be done. If you want to find out how the Ryder Cup course, it didn't quite fit. It was a bit
No, I
of
think
a,
you
it was a
could've
bit
got
of a square peg round hole. But one of the places that we have been travelling recently is Rome, and we played the Ryder Cup course.
Yeah. We get it. Yeah.
So several things to kind of mention here. Video, we'll get that edited. We might, I think, probably release that August maybe, just closer to Ryder Cup when it's a bit more relevant. That is the hardest course I've played in a long time, just
Really?
because the rough. I mean, Kieran came over to film with me, and the rough at one point was literally chest high,
Yeah.
and that is not
Which
an
is
exaggeration.
which is head high for me.
Yeah, I was
So
just going to say
literally I was-
I was going to say whose chest.
Yeah.
Because you have different heights.
Yeah, I was only meant to be there for 2 days. It was 4 days searching for Kieran.
yeah, no, it was,
Found him curled up with a deer, just keeping warm in night.
yeah, but like it's a good course though, isn't it? I think it's a good course.
The layout of the course, really enjoyed it.
Yeah,
I found the course very, very difficult, just because if you go slightly offline, you have lost the ball. Like,
yeah,
I did postulate the possibility that if you're 20 handicapper with a slightly erratic tee shot, you would not finish.
yeah.
Oh, that's bad.
Like you asked me, didn't you, of like what you think I'd score, and I'd say like I'd be happy to break 90. Like honestly, I'm happy to break 90.
and what you're 4 or 5
Four,
handicap?
four, yeah.
4
I'd be happy
handicap.
to break 90. Like
Yeah,
I'd,
it
I'd
was
say that's a
absurd.
good
All
day.
right, so I'm looking at breaking 100 maybe.
Well, we saw some clips. We got the raw footage, and we had a quick roll through to see some.
Oh,
there is some
yeah.
pretty incredible golf, even though the course is very difficult. There are some pretty epic
Yeah, it's
moments
gonna be-
Individual moments
in
that
that,
are
in that
Yeah,
video.
it's gonna be a
and
great video.
there's a particular section which lasts for far too long of you trying to hack out of some rather deep rough.
Yeah,
so.
I found I faced my doom. Yeah. It was to be honest, like the biggest worry for me, and we're gonna have to see what this is like closer to the actual event. The infrastructure around that course is so far away from being ready.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Like
so far.
That's not good. They've only got one toilet.
For a major, I didn't see any.
It's more like the outside of not just like the inside of
Parking,
of the course. It's like the parking. They're like making a road outside the entrances, which is not even laid. And like it's just
We're talking about a full-on road.
a full-on road that's
Full-on
like
access road.
2 miles long. Like
Wow.
Work to be done.
It's so far off.
It's like when they prep for like the World Cup or the Olympics or something, and then they show you pictures of the Olympic Village like a few weeks before, and it's just a building site, and you're like, oh, people are gonna live there, and then go, how are they gonna do that?
Yeah.
How are they gonna finish it?
And it's like we played with these 2 American guys, and they sort of finished the round after as well, and they didn't have anywhere to go because there's no Ubers out there. There's no Ubers, no taxis. The clubhouse shut at 8 o'clock when we finished. Like there's not a lot around. You know what I mean?
It's going to be interesting if you are going there now and you haven't already booked a hotel. Make sure you do.
Yeah.
It's going to be very interesting. We're actually going to be going. We're going to be covering it, so we'll get like an idea of what it's like at the event as it has been when we've just been. A lot of words there. So yeah, very interesting, and I'm excited to see the finished product. I am nervous if it will be finished.
Yeah. It'd be interesting to see like how long are we out now? When is it? The end of September. So what we got, like 3 and a bit months?
We're into June now, aren't we? So
yeah, 3. We've got about 3 months, haven't we? So like to see it in like a month before would be very interesting to see. So there's a couple of like stands up as well, isn't it? Like the first tee's done.
Yeah.
But like hospitality isn't done. More stands isn't done. Like it's just it's
going to be tight.
It's a long way off. It is a long way off.
But the video is going to be good. Very excited to get that going. There's one particular camera angle that we've rewatched that is just beautiful.
Yeah, it's going to be very, very good.
Very, very cool. That's it brings us nicely around to
who's going to be playing in it.
Who's going to be playing in it? Yeah. So let's get to. I mean, everyone have a little swig of some sort of liquid because it's going to be a long one. But let's get to the news of the day and the reason that we've stayed late to knock out an emergency podcast.
Yeah. So I think if you don't know already, and you haven't been party to this conversation over the last year really. The Public Investment Fund of Saudi Arabia, massive sovereign wealth fund, I think it's about 700 billion, not short of a bob or two, have been steadily investing and kind of moving themselves into a position where they're pretty much spread across most major sports. They really want to get into golf, and they have made moves to try and start a world tour. They launched LIV, 54-hole event, poach some of the very best players in the world, pay them massive amounts of money to play in their tour. And the PGA Tour, Jay Monahan, CEO, and not CEO, but Jay Monahan, the head of PGA Tour, a lot of players, a lot of golf media were very much set against this for a whole variety of reasons, many geopolitical. And it was, for many people, like a really strong rivalry, but not many people knew where golf was going in the men's game. There was a lot of controversy, but one thing that we didn't expect, really, took everyone by surprise, the speed of it, was a joining of forces. Yeah. And that's what happened this week. So, a few things to definitely get right. This isn't a merger, apparently. So, it's not like the LIV Tour and the PGA Tour are joining forces. The LIV Tour, the PIF, the PGA Tour, and the DP World Tour are going to make a separate company together, which is going to sit at the top of men's professional golf. And that's about all we know.
Yeah.
And weirdly enough, even that's not completely ironed out and confirmed yet. They've just said this is our plan. it's in the works. What do you think? And we haven't actually signed anything yet.
Yeah.
So
I mean, if you want to get to the nitty gritty, it's still got to get approved and checked over by the PGA policy board and things like that. So it's, I mean, I don't see how it doesn't. I would imagine they're going to force a way to get it over the line.
particularly now the guy from PIF is now on that board.
Exactly.
Well, one of the main reasons this is such a surprise is the PGA Tour and LIV Golf were literally in litigation, literally in court battles yesterday. And that has now all ceased. And from what I understand, from what I've been told, it was around kind of not allowing players access to other tours as far as like the PGA Tour was concerned. LIV people who are playing on the LIV Tour, like suing the PGA Tour, all kinds of stuff going on. That's all stopped. What I have heard, and I think what quite a few people have said, is that the actual cost of those lawsuits, even if the PGA Tour was going to win, it was just tens and tens of millions.
So I imagine that, you know, they may have once seen a future where they came out victorious and, you know, it was all great and the PGA Tour wins all of these, you know, litigation cases, and then the PIF have gone, well, actually we've got a lot more money than you have, and we'll just keep going. If you want to run your company into the ground, that's great. We'll just keep going because we've got almost unlimited funds to fight you, and we will continue to do so unless you want to join forces and, you know, let us have a seat at the big boy table.
It's interesting because a lot of people have now said that, you know, they saw LIV as a bit of a kind of Trojan horse just to shake up the game and give the PIF, called just the PIF, like you said, a seat at that table and increase Saudi Arabian influence within golf. And within other sports, I think they found it a lot easier to integrate themselves in many respects.
Football. They
F1, they're in F1, but they're in also like women's. They're in women's golf
the
as well.
Radco Team Series,
like they're everywhere.
Yeah, and then general kind of like business investments around the world. You know, their portfolio now is absolutely huge. Golf's a little bit different. They found it a little bit more difficult, but now it's happening. Like the thing that a lot of people were worried about for different reasons is going to come to pass, unless it's stopped by kind of Department of Justice in the US. The PGA players could kind of have a bit of a revolt, and have a bit of a problem with it. But I don't think that's going to happen, because essentially what this all boils down to, and it always does in sport, eventually at the professional level, is there's going to be a lot more money available.
I think we had this. I mean, we had a pretty heated discussion earlier.
Yeah, I kind of was in my seat, and I was like, Jacob and Mick were just like having it off a little bit. I was like,
but like at the end of the day, like you're right. It does come down to the money, and you know the PGA have been going through all the lawsuit stuff. Or that must cost a lot of money. The elevated events, I imagine, the purses have got bigger. Like they can't have got that money from nowhere. They've gone to sponsors and said, "Can we have more money for our elevated events?" The sponsors have gone, "Well, how is the product any different to how it was last time?"
Exactly. Yeah.
Like, no, you can't have more money. Oh no, now we need funding because all the players are going to leave. Oh, and along pops this giant investment fund. All we need to do is create a company that then can take on private equity investment, and we've got some money.
Yeah, it's going to be. I mean, the PGA Tour at the moment as well is not a profit for company.
No.
So that's going to have to change. There's going to be there's so much detail about this that we don't know.
Yeah.
It feels just so fast. It feels like it's been announced without having so much in the background actually kind of padded out and ready to explain to people. I don't think they know.
No,
sorry. Go on.
Well, I was just going to say that, like, even we don't know, but also not even Rory McIlroy knew about it. Do you know what I mean?
This is the weirdness.
Not even Greg Norman.
Not even Greg Norman. Yeah.
In an age where things get out so easily, and everyone's got little thoughts everywhere they can just get access to. And nothing. No kind of sort of. Usually, I remember thinking like when big things like this come along, there's sort of like an early report that might come out the day before because someone's heard something that, or someone's been pictured with someone or something like that.
Ronaldo's going to Real Madrid.
Yeah.
Oh, it's just a rumor. I won't believe it until I see him holding the shirt.
Yeah, exactly.
And then 2 weeks later, he's holding the shirt.
And then out of absolutely nowhere, this merger comes, and then obviously the whole golfing world is just exploded. And
somehow Netflix are in amongst it.
Well, did you see Chad's tweet?
Yeah, he
said,
he was
"You
like,
best believe we were filming when
it
the news
broke.
broke."
It's going to be unbelievable.
Just imagine, like the 2 years that they've picked is unbelievable.
Yeah,
They have locked out big time, haven't they?
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's like they said, right, guys, can you just hold off on all the drama until 22 and 23? Would that be all right?
Yeah.
Literally next season, a full swing. Wow.
Yeah, it's gonna be good.
It's going to be mental.
I think that says though, like because literally no information got out about this, it must have happened in a very short amount of time.
Yeah, it must happen very quick.
And also, I think a little bit worrying. That means that there must have been only really a few people discussing this.
Yeah.
Like deciding the future direction of men's professional golf was literally in the hands of a few people.
This is the other argument that me and Jacob got into, is that like it doesn't seem to me like they have changed anything about the world of golf currently, right? Because all that's happened is a business investment decision which doesn't necessarily affect any of the players at this point. They formed a new company, and these guys are still going to work for the PGA. These guys are still going to work for LIV. These guys are still going to work for the DP World Tour. We don't know if they're going to make a World Tour. It's likely that they will, because what they've been talking about is unifying golf and, making it a global sport again, and not having these kind of offshoots of tours happening in different places, whatever. But actually nothing really in the golf world has changed, apart from the fact where they've said, we're all now going to work together. We've started this company. We've got their money. They've got ours. And we're kind of going to work together on something. It's not as if they've gone, oh, that's all shut down and it's all gone. So we don't really know.
So from my understanding, the actual LIV kind of season will be completed.
Yeah. That's why as well.
That's going to carry on. PGA Tour won't change. DP World Tour won't change for this year. It's kind of moving into next year because like the PIF and like the guys on the board, like if they're going to be throwing a lot of money into men's professional golf, this isn't going to be we just want to secure the future of the game. They're going to want a lot
and return on investment as well.
Exactly. They're going to be expecting something, so things will change
because suddenly it's a for-profit company.
Yeah,
they're like, well, if you guys aren't making money, then why are you why would we keep you?
I think what they'll do as far as like PIF is concerned is they will also be an investing partner. Like,
I think that's part of the deal, isn't it?
Yeah. So I think whatever happens, they will probably turn a profit, just from like the amount of money that's going to be kind of pumped in there.
Yeah.
It's interesting from like the players' perspective because they just didn't know. Like they just didn't know what was happening, and there's so many players who've either shown loyalty to the PGA Tour because they were asked and they were given assurances that the PGA Tour will not change. PGA Tour is where the best players are going to be. PGA Tour is the pinnacle of men's professional golf. You don't want to go over to LIV. We're not sure about like where this money is coming from or the efficacy of it. Stay with the PGA Tour. Stay with the PGA Tour. Support us. Oh, by the way, guys.
By the way,
yeah.
It's hot.
And now you're going to have, if you did have any moral objections to where the money is coming from, like there is going to be a proportion of the money going forward, going into events, which is from the very same people that we didn't want you to be involved with 10 minutes ago.
Yeah. 100%.
It's so sad. I mean, I do feel quite bad for Rory, especially out of all of them, because he's been such the spokesman of everything. He's been at the forefront of all this, and now it's just kind of been almost like thrown back in his face, isn't it? Do you know what I mean?
Whether you liked or disliked Rory or disliked the LIV or anything like that, if you just base it down to a situation and you'd imagine that you've gone out and you've fronted up something and you've been so passionate about something and been against a particular thing, and then the next day you are forced into a situation where you're essentially going to have to answer to these people at some point now.
It's
such sit in the room with the enemy.
It's such a horrible place to get put into.
I think with Rory, one thing which, like, in all fairness, he was quite clear about is that he really doesn't like the idea of LIV and what they were trying to do. he was pretty agnostic as far as like public investment fund and kind of what they're doing in other sports.
Yeah.
He said it's good. It's going to be good for the game. Like
overall,
more money for golf is great. It means good things.
See, that's the thing. If you actually take a step back and look at the overall kind of picture of everything and what's going to happen, like you said, on the face of it,
face value, it looks great.
Yeah, things aren't going to change, and actually, business-wise, it makes a lot of sense.
It's the exact thing. At the end of the day, it all still just buckles down to the fact that if this money was coming from some US consortium or some head honchos in Australia or whatever it might have been, there wouldn't be any backlash. It's just because of where the money's coming from. That is what it knuckles down to. Still, that's all it is. As you look at what is now going to become, you've got everyone theoretically now joining back together again, which is what people would have been happy for, because then you can see everyone playing again. I quite liked the fact that when the majors came around, it brought them back together again for four times a year, and there was this kind of like
it had that bit of edge. That was what's kind of good about it.
I don't know if you guys felt the same, but like, obviously compared to last year, I felt things were like settling down a bit.
I really liked the first half of this year.
I felt like
really
there was some kind of like, I could see maybe a way. Obviously, I'm completely disregarding all of the law stuff, which is very crucial in this whole thing.
Yeah.
But from a fan standpoint, I almost felt like I could see a way out, that we could maybe get on with both of these being okay with each other.
Yeah.
And now obviously this is thrown everything into the air.
But it's not ended anything yet. Like nothing is over yet. It's just they've said we're going to work together to build something new. They haven't necessarily said the PGA Tour's going away. They haven't necessarily said that LIV's going away.
Yeah, but it's still not like, it's just still not right. The way the whole process has gone about, like how they've dealt with it, I think it's been absolutely poor.
Yeah.
So it's, you got to feel for, like I said, Rory as well, but also like Hideki. Hideki's another one that's like a massive one where, he could have gone for so much money to live, like loads of money. There was reports that it was near what Tiger's was because of the Asian market. Like he's massive in the Asian market, and obviously Shrixon because of like they're the biggest golf brand in the world. Like as a market population, so you got to feel for those type of people that are like, they've lost out on all this money. So how is that right?
But they lost out but also showed some loyalty to something else.
100%,
so it was kind of
to them some kind of morality as well.
Yeah, but it's just completely been pied back in their face. Like,
I don't think out the other end of this they're going to be any worse off. I think they're going to be very well paid, because what's going to happen now is that one of the big obstacles that the PGA Tour had in rewarding players is that they couldn't just go up to people and offer them bonuses because of their kind of membership criteria and kind of how they're structured. Yeah. So they couldn't go up to Rory at the end of the year and say, Rory, we've noticed that, quite frankly, when you play, when you're in contention, our viewership, our ratings are 400% higher, or whatever.
People actually come.
Yeah, just like pulling a rabbit out of the hat kind of thing, as far as numbers go. And they couldn't reward Rory for the amount of people that he was pulling in. That's why they brought in the PIP scheme, as far as like player impact program,
which is irrelevant anyway, because Tiger Woods is just
exactly. It's just our way to give the players more money and reward them for kind of staying on the tour. Now, I think what's going to happen is, because this new structure is going to be in place as far as where the money can come from, in an actual business setting rather than the PGA Tour setting, I think Hideki, Rahm, Rory, all these players are going to get, I think, not reparations, quite a strong word, but they're going to get some money for it.
Yeah,
staying.
Turned it down bonus.
Yeah, exactly. We are going to give you money we are going to give you the money that you weren't prepared to move for because you didn't move, but we have now come to you. And you can't go anywhere else.
It's just so.
Is there
corrupt.
also maybe a sense that can kind of be construed as some sort of hush money as well?
That's
in regards of like,
so
they give it
corrupt.
to you and like, thanks for staying, but now they're here. You can't really kind of say much anymore. So can you just get on with it? Thanks. No.
And can you pretend to be friends with them again?
Yeah.
Well, one of the issues they've got, I mean, I think, a lot of this, like you said, Mick, is not going to really affect most of what we view as far as professional golf.
Yeah, you still have to hit the ball in the hole.
Yeah, and like the actual events that it's taking.
They've not changed that yet.
No.
Yes.
Give it a minute.
The events that are taking place, there might be a few new added. Obviously, you've got like TGL stuff. More
Another
things.
side thing to this, where what do they think about that?
There's just going to be so many more things kind of being added, and probably from a fan's perspective, I actually think things might get a little bit better. But it is just more kind of how you feel and where you stand on, like Kieran was saying, and how everything has happened. And if you are like Rory's like a little bit of a different example, because he wasn't actually at any point approached to join LIV because of his stance saying, I'm PGA Tour, I don't like LIV.
Kind of
I mean, I imagine he would have had an email come through like, here's some money, but
apparently not.
Oh, really?
Yeah, apparently
Okay.
he was just not offered anything, which kind of makes sense because he was very, very
From the
pro
get-go,
PGA Tour from the get-go. But a lot of other players were, and they chose to stay. And the players who went, to be honest, like, imagine they must be laughing their heads off now.
Can you imagine how
Exactly.
excited Ian Poulter is right now?
Well, he ain't get back on the tour. Not the way he's playing anyway.
Oh, he took the paycheck. He doesn't need to.
Well, that's the thing. Like, if you're a Brooks, if you're a DJ, and you've taken tens of millions to join LIV, and let's say LIV it's just a theory, but let's say LIV is wound up at the end of this year, and these players want to come back and join this new kind of enterprise, if it's PGA Tour, DP, World Tour, whatever it's going to be. Now, Jay Monahan has said that they're not just going to be invited back to the tour.
Mm-hmm.
So what?
However, they
They'll-
can reapply for membership.
So it'll be like player qualifier, or how it works now for people who are trying to get on the tour. They'll have to go back and do that same kind of thing again.
I don't think it will.
Will it be a buy-in?
I think they will be fined.
A buy-in.
They'll be fined.
I think they'll be fined. So they'll get a fine for leaving
Ooh.
the PGA Tour in the first place. I think it'll be hefty.
It'll be the money that you took plus interest.
Yeah.
Because we want to give it to Rory.
But the thing, let's say it's Brooks, for example, and you're saying, okay, Brooks, we're going to fine you $5 million. Like,
Cool.
Yep.
Like he's earned. What was he signing for LIV? 50?
No, it's more than that.
I
It's like
think.
150.
Well, the problem was that some of those deals were over 5 years or like over 4 years. So he won't have got that much from the deal.
Okay,
That would have been the
75
announcement.
million then.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that would have
It'd
been the
be alright.
announcement.
Sucks.
Yeah.
So like,
But again, how is that all going to play out? Because I mean, they've all probably signed on a dotted line saying that it's for this many years and that amount of money. And if they're saying LIV is now done,
What am I going to do with my Majestics merch? Is what I want
who
to
that's
am I
very true.
emailing to get four aces refunds? Because that's all I'm on about.
my range goes head covers are just going straight into bed.
my Niblix tattoo will have to get removed.
But I imagine what they'll do
Who's
is
paying for that, Jay?
So
Hey?
if you think about it, if you're I'm using Brooks as an example there, just because he's in the news, obviously winning USPGA. If the PGA Tour turned around and said, okay, you're going to be fined $5 million, like he's probably just going to turn around to the people who are now on the board of this new business and say, listen, like they're fining me because of a decision I made to come join you.
Yeah.
And they will probably pay that fine.
Yeah, they'll be like, we'll give you the 5 million.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so everyone who stays on the PGA Tour, like, to get, like these guys, a lot of these guys try to sue the tour as well, and they're now going to be rejoining.
It literally reminds me of the Super League. Do you remember the Super League when it was called?
I remember
Yeah.
it very well. Yeah.
Like, this is what it reminds me of. And the only thing that is going to be so different with the fact that with like golf and with football, no one's obviously, with golf, like no one's really going to have much of a backlash. No one's going to come out and really say anything because it's not that type of thing. Like
Golf fans are way too polite.
yeah, 100%. Yeah, exactly. Whereas like, you had, United fans, charging the bloody stadium, getting in and breaking in, like all these sort of things. Like they made their voices clear.
Human rights violations.
are you
I'll do a
saying that-
podcast about that, I will.
Are you saying the PGA Tour fans aren't going to be storming the course?
I don't know.
Storming
Where
the
should
tour?
we take- where should we take to?
No, because
Where should we go?
like you say, like obviously this is going to be good because it's unifying the whole game, which is great. Like I'm so an advocate for that. But like this is really wrong. Like really, really wrong. All of this. I'm not an opinionated person.
No, you're not. This is the most animated I've ever
honestly,
seen.
like it has annoyed me a little bit. I don't know. Do you
You're
know
just
what I mean?
annoyed that Rory put his neck out and he's been whacked on the head.
I do feel quite sorry
And Brooks
for him.
isn't getting paid
because
as much
he
anymore.
literally looks stupid now. So yeah, no, I
Yeah.
just feel
Well,
I do feel a bit
But
annoyed
you
about the whole
gotta,
thing.
I mean, like, you know,
to be realistic about it, like this has
again,
been.
all comes down. Like, I know there will be some people that will be loving this, that Rory's been put in this position, but I think most people can look at the situation and realise how crap it is for him.
Yeah,
like, I don't
literally.
think it takes a lot for you to realise that it's not exactly like Rory's done much wrong. He's the one that's just getting screwed over.
Yeah,
I think a lot of people can
and
see
I just
that.
didn't really expect this
Yeah.
type of like drama from golf. Do you know what I mean? Like,
I know.
this is like,
I mean,
yeah.
I don't think. I think Rory in his kind of press conference, kind of, he just said he felt like a bit of a sacrificial goat.
Yeah.
And which
As
is
he should.
which is absolutely fair. And in that same press conference, he was talking about like payments to players who've stayed loyal to the
Did you
tour.
say sacrificial goat or range goat?
It's true? Sacrificial range goat, an extra member of the range goats team. The
He's
sacrifice.
He's their sub.
I mean, he still, kind of stuck his neck out a little bit for Jay as well, saying that he still
Yeah.
trusts him, and
Yeah,
that-
exactly.
which is incredible.
I'm pretty sure
given
he
the
was,
state
reading,
of
he was reading an auto cue at that point. wasn't he?
everything that Jay Monahan has probably said in the last 6 months, he's just completely gone against, which is,
Yeah.
I get how from this point now do we read or hear anything he says and assume that's going to happen?
Yeah.
So my other question is, so we can imagine that, if there is a eventual larger world tour taking place, we can imagine that the purses for these tournaments are going to be huge, bigger than LIV was, bigger than LIV's prize money, bigger than the biggest prize money on the PGA Tour by a long way. For the majors, what does this mean for the USGA and what does this mean for the RNA, who are suddenly going to be hosting tournaments which, by comparison, have extremely low purses for things like the Open and for the...
I mean, they're still going to have some kind of decent purse. To be honest, I don't think they need to worry. Like, the four majors are still four players, the pinnacles of their sport. Yeah, it's the same. It's the same thing when you say about the Ryder Cup. Like, the people don't get paid for playing the Ryder Cup, but everybody wants to play in it because it is a pinnacle of a career. And by the looks of it, like the amount of money that some of these players are going to be getting paid, like pride and trophies are literally going to be maybe the only thing they need to worry about. Or are going to be concerned about. But probably on like the top professional level, the people who are going to be more concerned about this are those guys kind of like near the bottom of the FedEx Cup rankings who are fighting to keep their card, who might suddenly have to fight against this influx of ex-PGA Tour players coming back. Like, what does this look like for kind of DP World Tour? What does this look like for Challenge Tour? What does it look like for Corn Ferry Tour? Like, the whole structure of golf is, even though it's going to stay the same now,
it's in flux a little bit.
it will change. It has to. Like, the things are going to be. Things are really going to be altered.
That was because when all the notifications from news agencies and everything were coming through, and they highlighted it of a PGA Tour, LIV, and DP World Tour merger. That's the way they explained it. Now, after Rory's interview today, he's kind of gone on record to say, look, LIV is actually nothing to do with this. It's PIF, it's DP, and it's PGA Tour. And it's just now that PIF are now the guys that are coming in, and they're going to start putting a lot more commercial and financial effort into this new tour. My thought of, and maybe people have seen this or not, but with the PGA Tour event, so you've got things like the Players, and you've got things like the John Deere Classic, and you've got things like, I know the match play is now finished, but things like that, like, is that continuing? Is that going to move into the new tour? Are they going to...
This is exactly it. We literally don't know what it looks like yet.
I mean, a lot of those people, like your John Deere's, your Wells Fargo, whatever it's going to be, like, they'll have multi-year deals. Like, they'll have signed up.
Yeah.
So
exactly. Are we going to play the John Deere Classic 1 week and then we make our way over to Bedminster for the LIV Bedminster? Like,
in so many respects,
that's a good point.
It doesn't, like, if the PGA Tour, DP World Tour, the new World Tour, whatever it's going to be, like,
New World Order,
if they lose partners, like, it's not gonna. In some respects, it might not matter. The fact is, like, golf, when you think about it, if you think about the amount of money which is on offer per event, like the winners in the elevated events getting like what, 3-4 million,
4 million,
like regular event like 1.5 million, majors like 3 and a bit million as well. Public Investment Fund has billions to throw at this.
And
billions. Like as far as investing in a sport at the professional level, golf is cheap.
Yeah.
Aren't they? Aren't
Yeah.
they 2.16 trillion?
Probably.
Their fund. I think I remember seeing that actually on an
It's
article.
endless. Like
Yeah,
they have an endless supply.
The
It
last,
comes out the ground.
yeah,
It
like the
literally
last,
does.
yeah, literally the
Literally does.
last one I saw, I'm sure it was like 780 billion. But
Yeah.
it doesn't like once you start getting to that amount of money, it doesn't matter and that's the thing you were talking about. The PGA Tour were probably a little bit short-sighted in some respects about like standing up for the tour and kind of standing in the way, saying, we're not getting involved with this. We're standing on our own. We don't want to be involved with this. We don't think it's good for the game. But they were, they were holding a knife in a fight where there was a tank coming. Mm-mm. Like we are talking about the DP World Tour. We are talking about the PGA Tour being waves lapping against the shore of golf.
Yeah, just
PIF,
very, very underprepared.
Yeah, PIF is a tsunami with the amount of money they have. They can literally buy what they want. Eventually, they will get what they want because they have such a huge amount of money to spend. And for them, it's literally free money.
Yeah.
Like this investment fund has been building for decades, and they've got all of it to spend.
Yeah.
Like just imagine that you can literally spend it on whatever you want.
Yeah.
No consequence.
And it's not running out.
running out.
I really don't like the idea that money can buy you whatever you want.
Yeah.
That makes me really bloody sad. That.
Yeah.
But here we are.
That's the
Yeah.
thing. That's probably the thing that I'm annoyed about the most is that there is going to be people in this that are going to become so rich from all of this, and that's what really annoys me. Is that like
Why isn't it me?
They asked me to play on Live and I turned it down.
We have a new segment, Communism with Kieran.
But no, there's going to be
You're
people.
communist.
There's going to be people on this.
deep red.
That is just going to be like making a lot of money from this and detrimenting other things. So
But-
it's just.
But as far as like the golfers are concerned, like for them, like once they get over the shock of this, I think they're just going to be playing for money.
Yeah. Oh, it's not about that. It's it's the people behind the scenes that are just that we will never hear about that are just going to be making millions off. That's my only bit.
The lawyers.
Yeah,
And
like
bloody
what I
Jay
mean?
Monners as well,
Exactly,
probably.
literally,
He'll
literally.
be getting a
he's-
payout,
yeah.
but he might not survive this. I don't see how he can keep the trust of the players after this.
That breaks down. But there's so many things to unravel. Like you start talking about one thing, and then you suddenly, even in this conversation now, I'm just like brains ticking of like, what's going to happen with this? What's going to happen with that? Like, there's just so much to continue to come out now.
I think one of the big winners from this is DP World
Yeah,
Tour.
100%. That's what I was just going to say.
Yeah,
Like
100%.
it's been a bit like the last few years it just feels like a slow kind of creeping decay. Like things just aren't right there.
Yeah.
This is going to give them a huge boost.
Yeah, I think it's
massive.
really, really good.
We spoke about their sort of, where do they go? Where's their future heading? And it was obviously a focus on where they're going to get their money from. How can they invest more into it? How are they going to go and do that?
Does
Obviously
it just become a feeder tour for the PGA Tour?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, again, we are saying they are a winner here, but as with everything, we just don't know what they are even going to look like as well. Like, does the DP World Tour just, as we say, come into one big tour? But then when you've got one massive tour and there's nothing else sort of around that, how do these lower feeding players? We can't fit everyone in. There's a lot of places to fill.
If you guys were to make a prediction of how, like, what you think it would look like, how would you? I'll start by saying I think it's going to be like a world tour. Like, it's going to be a one set tour, and then everyone's just going to go around the world. That's what I think it's going to be.
And what everyone from
And
DP
then all
World, Live, PGA are all just going to be in it.
And they're all playing every event.
Yeah, that's what.
There's not enough spots.
No, I think in an ideal world you would have like a season which does go global. You've got your Asian swing, you've got your Australian swing, your European swing, your American swing.
Again,
but
to try and maybe focus on positives where we can. That's something that will be great. That you can get events that are going to come all over and get guys that don't usually come over to Europe to play and get. But then this is going back to why guys left to live in the first place, is that they don't want to travel as much and they want to spend more time at home and they want to do this, that, and the other.
I don't buy that.
They'll have the option to, because they'll be earning so many shekels from the small amount of events they are playing. They won't have to go to all of them.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I'm not. It's so like it's just so up in the air. It's just such a shock to the system. It's crazy.
Yeah.
My ideal outcome would be that yes, there is a ongoing, maybe like a league where you have to play a certain amount of events throughout the year, and you get stay with me.
Some teams. in there as well.
Wait. So you have to play a certain amount.
Said,
You have to play a certain amount of individual events on the World Tour, and say you get 10, or you have to play a certain number. You have to play 16 events throughout the year or whatever, and then you get points, and whoever's at the top, that person wins. Very much like a FedExy job. And then also there's 5 or 6 events a year where the big companies can have a team Callaway, a team TaylorMade, a team Nike, a team whatever, and those teams will be made up of sponsored players who would then play in these like team events a few times a year. I really like the idea of team golf. I love the Ryder Cup. I love the President's Cup. All of that stuff is really exciting because I grew up playing team sport. Football was always and it was always part of the joy of watching you play cricket was like getting to support a team doing something together.
Yeah.
I love the idea of team sport, and I would love for that to happen more in golf. I don't know if people will just see that as LIV 2.0 or whatever.
Naturally that correlation is going to be very easy to make, and that was
the majors.
Yeah, and that was going to be the next thing that I was going to kind of bring to the table. Really, is that one of the things that was kind of addressed in the press statement from the PGA Tour was that they were going to find ways of how they could implement team sport into golf and how they were going to go about that. You know, basically without saying it, saying how can we get the LIV model implemented into what we're going to now create on this new unity and entity of a tour. Rory spoke about it today. I thought it was interesting that he brought it up because it's obviously something that has been, if he's had conversations with people, it's obviously something that's come up to him.
It's definitely been discussed. Yeah.
And that he is aware of it, and it's something that he's probably been told that this is probably coming, if you get ready.
Go back and watch that segment. He goes, you may even see me playing in a team.
But not LIV.
Yeah.
That's what he said, but not LIV.
But not the bloody Majestics, all right?
They
won't have me.
I'm
a range goat at heart.
I'm with you. I like the Ryder Cup. I like the President's Cup. I like team sport. I've grown up playing team sport as well. But I do worry, and that those notes about how they're going to try and implement that was the bit that worried me the most. Yeah. In that it feels like it's taking what they tried to do with LIV, and now they're bringing it into what they're trying to do now.
Yeah.
And that made the cogs turn in my head a bit more of like...
You've got clogs in your head.
They've got clogs in my head, mate. They're clocking all over the place.
He's got a cooking
the cogs in my head turning of like the Saudi control of this. I know this is where we had a bit of a spaff of like control and the word of and how much they're going to have.
Yeah.
But when the amount of money they're going to be investing in it is of to the level they are, there's going to be some desire from them to get something out of it, of what they want.
Yeah, because they're going to have probably the most investment of it.
Yeah, I think from my understanding, and correct me if I'm wrong on this, because again, this is very early days, the new company, business entity, whatever it's going to be, which is created, there's going to be a value placed on that, which is all the assets which are kind of currently controlled by PGA, DP, and PIF, which includes LIV. Are all going to be in one pot. There's going to be a value placed on that, and then the different parties are going to have different stakes of investment within that.
Yeah.
So, you know, if
which is where the PIF will probably take the majority share.
I don't think they will.
I'm not sure they will either.
I don't think they will. I think they'll probably about 20% or 30% or something.
Why do you think that?
Well, because first of all, there's 3 parties joining.
Yeah.
Second of all, the PGA Tour is the biggest tour in the world, so why would they not get more than everyone else?
Because the PIF can buy them out.
Doesn't matter.
No, I've got a feeling as well with this that, like, bear in mind what the PIF is there for. It's there to kind of really build up the reputation of Saudi Arabia on like on an international scale. Now they're doing that through sports sponsorship, sports purchases, but I don't really get the vibe that they want to actually be like a controller of like a day-to-day operation of a tour. Like I think they're going to buy stake. They're going to want things for that, you know, whether that's events in Saudi Arabia, kind of advertising around events. But But I think the
free
actual
tickets for their mates.
Yeah, I think the actual organisation of the event, I think they'll probably want to leave to like DP and PGA Tour.
People who know what they're flaming doing from the start.
But again, this is all just like such speculation.
Yeah, we won't know for sure really until someone buys something.
Yeah, the only thing I'll say about that is that if you're looking at that from a business perspective, then that makes no sense.
That's the perfect business perspective.
Yeah.
I'll give you loads of money, you run it for me, and bring me back more money.
Yeah, but they think that they probably can make more money in a different way.
They don't want to do any work. Businessmen don't want to work. They just want to make money for free.
I've got
kind of free.
I mean, and bear in mind with the public investment fund, yes, they're investing, yes, they'll want a return. But again, if they don't get a return on that money, they're still investing in what they want, which is a better reputation for Saudi Arabia. That's what they're after at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's what they're going for. And they've invested. Remember, you know, they have spread their investment. We're talking about their investment with golf here.
Yeah,
but they are in every single sport.
Yeah, F1's a big one, isn't it? Yeah.
And so many businesses.
Yeah,
like businesses. What we're recording on now, kind of Apple, iPhones. You know, what we take every day, Uber. You know, they're in everything. Public investment fund. They spread its investment all over the place.
Yeah.
So it is going to be like just assessing what they actually want from the partnership.
Yeah,
Gonna be tricky.
I just hope it doesn't I hope it still keeps like what the PGA Tour kind of stands for, and that is one of the aspects of the PGA Tour is that you can still have your Monday qualifiers that come up at like a Michael Block.
It's an open.
Yeah, literally I think that's I want that still to continue because that is what golf is about.
Yeah, it makes it exciting
Making
that
stories.
you could be playing in your weekly medal one week and you could be rolling up to the
which is what you were saying about the next. Yeah, the teams as well. Like if we do have these teams aspects, that feels a very closed field.
Yeah,
people aren't going to come in and
but you can't roll up and play for United. That's a closed field.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, so that's what I mean. Is that so if we're going to get these teams, then it feels like there's going to be your set players, but there's not going to be many people coming new in. Do you know what I mean?
By the way, great idea for football teams. Hold an open training session every Tuesday. You can rock up, and if you're the best player on the pitch that day,
that is a great
you're in the squad.
They do open tryouts for teams all over the place.
Yeah, weekly.
That's a great idea.
Every week.
But the standard is so high, you've got to score 5
and the rule
goals
is you have to have one of them start every game.
That would be so cool.
Yeah.
Just imagine.
And today's ringer is Steve. He's a painter and decorator from North Manchester. He's got a wicked left foot. You'll have to excuse him though. He has got some dodgy ears and he can't hear correctly. So
he's got a dodgy hammy. So if he pulls up,
he doesn't want the most mobile.
And could someone, because the owner of the white transit van, please remove it from the car park? You're blocking in Ronaldo.
Oh god, future ideas, love it.
Like that.
So yeah, we will wait and see, and I've got a feeling like they'll start investing more in LPJ and LET as well.
Yeah, one of my questions was what does it mean for women's golf?
I mean, they're already there anyway, so it's kind of they've got a control. I know it's not, but like they've got stake in golf across every element, every format, every gender, It's
slightly different with ladies golf because it's an investment through a Ramco, so that is a business rather than an actual kind of the money will eventually come from the same place, but that is a business.
I mean, I can't remember the exact, but it's something silly like 91% of Aramco is owned by PIF or whatever it is, all the
but they do a lot of the organisation of it, don't they? They do a lot of like the organisation of that series.
Again, they're just like their title sponsors.
They don't do any work.
So who does? So for the Aramco Team Series events, who organises that?
That's LET, LPJ.
LET, LPJ.
Because that's the thing, like but think about it this way: like if you're who's sponsoring United at the moment, TeamViewer,
Fools,
or whatever. It's like TeamViewer. Obviously, they are a sponsor. They get
some idiots.
That kind of recognition on the shirt, but they're not involved day to day with the organisation of the match.
Maybe that's a new thing for us to put to people.
Might be.
Yeah. The John Deere Classic and. Phil, get out the tractor today, mate. I need you to go plan a golf tournament. Come on.
Just the John Deere, all the players are cutting the course in the morning. Yeah. Just out there. Oh, bloody hell, it's early. God, I'm not seeing off till 3. I'm out at 5 a.m. trimming the fringes.
Sowing me oats.
Yeah, exactly. It's we're in a situation where we are asking more questions than getting
Yeah,
answers.
100%.
Yeah.
And you know what's worse? I wish we bloody had him here so they could explain it to us properly.
It's interesting. Yeah.
We've come together to do this podcast today, and we've kind of gone with the assumption that because there's so much now to work out, that nothing crazy is really going to come out in the next few days. But due to the way that this merger has come about and how quickly that's come about, we could be sat here tomorrow, and you might be listening to this right now, and we've got everything out in front of us and we know what's going on.
Yeah, we might be doing an emergency podcast.
Double emergency.
We may actually scrap this one and put out one with actual information on it.
Just keep your windows open tonight, boys.
We're in a position of like we've had all the information, and then the next best thing we've had was Rory's presser, which was really interesting to see, and obviously get his opinion on what's going on. And I'm really interested to see how it goes. As we've said already, at face value, when it first comes out, you think this sounds good because it's just unifying golf once again and bringing everyone back together.
Yeah.
The bottom line of it is that the money is coming from Saudi, and that's the problem.
Yeah.
If it was coming from somewhere else, then people would probably be celebrating this.
Like bear in mind that's a problem for some people.
Yeah,
like some
of course.
People aren't bothered. Like some people just don't care.
The US government want to do deals with Saudi Arabia because they've got other people to worry about who aren't on their team in the other end of the country.
Yeah, exactly.
So they want as many allies as they can get.
And on the flip side of people that are okay with it, there will be some people who hate it.
Oh yeah, 100%.
And now, in a certain aspect, if you want to stick to your beliefs on not supporting and not getting involved in any of that, you can't really watch golf anymore.
Yeah, but you can't. Yeah, this is.
I know this is getting into the,
you
can't take an Uber and you can't.
You're like,
look,
get rid of your Apple phone.
Yeah, I know.
Don't wear clothes
from
from fast fashion.
Yeah.
Don't work for a company that is owned. It's,
of course, yeah. I know you can go.
You've got to have a line somewhere where you're like,
yeah.
I'm okay with this level of human rights violation.
To be honest, this is why sport. And this is why people, and I never really used to get this. This is why people just hate it when sports and politics become kind of more closely aligned, because you just want I didn't really get it a few years ago, but I get it so much more now, where people go to sport for an escape. They want to watch it. They want to cheer on the team. They want to watch their favorite players. They just want to see people doing the things on a field, on a pitch, on a course that they could only dream of, and that they want to get behind, and they just want to be entertained. They don't care about anything else. They don't want to get involved in any of that kind of outside crap. And when something like this happens, it just blurs those lines so much, and it makes people draw side.
I just want my Crushers fix. How am I going to get it now?
Yeah, God,
can't get it.
Yeah. Oh well.
So I just can't imagine life without watching Lee Westwood hit it 260 with his driver.
The only thing I'm sad about, literally the only thing I'm sad about, is LIV going. It's just that Range Goats logo. That's a really good logo.
It's great
strong logo.
Really good.
God damn.
Where will we ever hear of Greg Norman again? Is he just gonna?
Oh wow, he got blindsided. Didn't he?
No way that he thought this was going to happen.
He literally got told an hour before the announcement that it was all happening. Now, if that's if that's not freeze out, I don't know. Yeah. I think again he'll just get paid out. He'll get paid out, and he'll be like, "Oh, I was there when we." Because his goal overall, and he's been pretty consistent with it, is to have some kind of world tour. So he'll probably walk away from this thinking, I've done my job. We've done the job there.
Yeah. I get that. Even that in itself just suggests that this was, LIV and setting all that up was just a stepping stone.
It's a real long game now.
Yeah, it's playing the long game, because there's how quickly that's been thrown to the side. I imagine as soon as that email came through, do you fancy doing a little deal? They would have been licking their lips at that.
Wow.
So tricky.
Well, so
I'm excited to see what news comes out next, because
we'll see what happens.
I was just editing my little knife golf video, eating a waffle, bang!
Knife golf?
Knife golf, it's really, really exciting.
Yeah, by the way, new video coming out. As you can tell, I survived.
Back streets.
But it was a
there was a lot of shanks.
Yeah, wow, that was a
very
good. Very good. Very good. Wow. Oh dear. Right, so we will wait and see. We'll wait and see what happens. There's a lot of developments to come, I am sure. But now for the most important event of the week. We are on to Guess the Player, where we close out every podcast when the four of us are available with the most exciting game in podcast entertainment today. Kieran.
Yes.
Have you got your script to talk us through this?
I have got my script.
Okay, here we go. Here we go.
Well, my actual script as in the guess the player script. Oh yeah, I can get that. No.
I can do it if you want.
Wait, 2 seconds. 2 seconds. Give me 5
seconds.
4. Yes, here we go.
He's found it.
Right.
Welcome everybody to Guess the Player, a segment we do here every week here on the podcast. Each week, I pick a player and rattle off facts about this specific person, ranging from hard to easy clues. You'll have one life and your unique buzzers. Jacob's is...
Get in the hole.
Pete's is... Mick's is...
Cool, blimey.
Excellent. And the current standings are...
Yeah.
I'm just demolishing it,
Yeah,
by the
you're
way.
winning.
For the listeners,
so demolishing.
for the listeners out there, I am on a run, only eclipsed by... What team's Taylor Gooch in?
Good question.
The Taylor Gooch team.
Not
The
sure.
Gooches.
The Gooches.
It's probably not a good name for a team.
Range Gooch.
Yeah, the range the range Gooch.
He's not 4 ace,
Yeah.
is he? I don't
Normally
think.
get
But
pretty sweaty at the range.
This is our last one, isn't it?
It is.
Before we change the format.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Before we
so
change.
what you're currently viewing is technically the season finale
Yeah.
of season 1.
This is episode 25.
This is episode 25. We're going to make some very mild changes to the podcast for episode 26.
Yeah.
So look
We're-
forward to that. Tune back in next week
We're
and
gonna
you'll,
do
you'll see what
some-
we've done differently.
We're going to do some merging.
Yeah, we're going to...
Yeah.
You know what? We're
We're
actually
merged.
merging with some rival podcast.
Golf life. Or something
Yeah,
like that.
We're merging with Beef's Golf.
Yeah, I was going to say Beef's Golf, yeah.
But yeah, so things might change next week. Kieran, you'll get to compete because I'm going to do the questions.
Yes, cool. And we're going to do a new intro as well, aren't we?
Oh,
Which
God,
we're
it's gonna
very
be
excited for. So
Yeah.
make sure you tune in for next week's episode.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Let's go.
Oh, right, I need to get on me right. Guess the player now. Hang on.
I suppose we can unofficially crown you champion then, because I don't think I can.
You can't catch him.
Yeah, so you
Well done,
are
Pete.
season 1 champion. By the
Thank
way,
you.
25 episodes is pretty good. isn't
Oh
it?
yeah,
Do you know
by
what I
the-
mean?
well done, boys.
Like that's
really good.
That's
We're still here.
Yeah, we made it.
yeah. I
We
think
didn't.
it's-
None
it's
of
got an
us.
achievement in it. You know what I mean?
Hey,
Wake me up
listen.
when we get to 100.
Yeah, exactly. Get to 100. We'll give ourselves a pat on the back.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I just still think 25 is a nice number. You know what I mean?
Onto the
Lovely.
biggest golf podcast in the world, then we can have a little celebration. Until that point,
Then I'll go to bed.
we are just the nibblets.
Like I
Right.
said, tune in next week.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. Right. Okay.
How mild are these changes? They're pretty mild.
Yeah, they're going to be good.
Okay.
I turned professional
Yes.
in 2010,
Well done.
playing off a +5 handicap.
Very good.
Good lord.
Wow, decent
What-
play.
Play along at home, by the way, and comment down
What
below when
handicap do you
get it.
need to turn pro now?
4.
No, it's like 4, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Can't you do? Can't you do like a playing
Is
test?
that because you're up 4, so you're
No,
like, oh,
so
I'm going to go pro?
on the if you want to do your PGA qualification, as in your Professional Golfers Association,
The thing that you have.
I think it's like 6 now or something.
Yeah, 6 or 4.
But
yeah.
do you have to do a test to prove that you can actually play?
Yeah, and there's different like levels of qualification now. Like
Right.
you can train to be like a manager or just a coach, or
Yeah.
back in my day, you used to to hold yourself to an higher standard. You used to have a playing ability test.
What'd you turn pro off?
Yeah.
3. I think back in my day, you had to get down to scratch, and then you didn't have to do the playing ability test. But if you were between scratch and 4, you had to do a playing ability
Right.
test. But it was like you had to be like +16 over 2 rounds.
Oh, right. Okay.
Very
I was gonna-
achievable.
Yeah.
But the amount of chaos that you
Mate,
saw.
the amount of pressure, surely.
Honestly,
Yeah, the pressure.
Like when I did mine, I shot an amazing first round. Well, amazing. I think I was like level first round.
So
So I just had such a
you're laughing.
relaxing
Yeah.
like time.
Yeah.
And then I was playing with a guy who was like, I think he was like 14 over on the last hole.
Wow.
And he was
Imagine
crapping himself. hit a really,
amazing.
hit
I
a
love
really
that.
good tee shot and shanked his second.
Oh wow. Of
Walked off the course.
course you did.
Never to be seen again.
But Rick came
Wow.
back next year, so it's fine.
Wow.
I'm kidding.
We didn't mention about who you played with on the thingy. Or we not
Oh,
mentioned
from
that?
Scotland. Yeah.
That's why that joke's relevant.
You're just
Yeah,
going to bomb that. You're going to drop that in at what? An hour and 8 minutes
in.
into the podcast.
Well, it's a treat if you got here.
Yeah.
No, I'll just race back from Scotland just in a rush. I played with Rick up there. We did a break 65 scramble.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Coming
quite
soon.
That's
I'm
quite
really
cool.
looking forward
I
to that.
smashed it.
Yeah,
There's no issue.
Yeah, that'd be quite good. Right, okay.
Join forces again, which is lovely.
Love that.
Next one. He won.
It's a he.
Sorry.
It's a he. Sorry,
Yeah.
slip. It's a he.
It's a
Okay.
slip.
God, thank God this is the last one.
I won the British Par 3 Championship in 2013.
Oh, wow.
I really want it to be.
Is that the one that's like sponsored by Farm Foods?
Yeah, Nailcoat Hall. Not actually playing there before. It's meant to be
You
a really good
invited to
event.
that before, I think.
Yeah. I should have played that actually. It's meant to be really hard though.
Really?
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
that'd be
Harder than that par 3 course on the sim?
Yeah.
That is
harder
flaming
than
difficult.
the Bad Little Nine.
Yeah. It's meant to be just like green water, that kind of
Right,
vibe,
okay.
but- okay.
2013. It's 10 years ago.
Mm.
I was just a little sprog back then.
You weren't even thought about, mate.
No.
No one go?
No.
No one going. All right then. I won the 2011. Now I'm going to struggle with this pronunciation. Kazakhstan.
Kazakhstan.
Kazakhstan
Yeah,
Open
it's-
on the Challenge Tour. K-A-Z-A.
Yeah, Kazakhstan. It's a
Kazakhstan,
country.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah, it's
It's in Kazakhstan.
yeah, it's just north.
Can't say that I'm a big follower of the Kazakhstan Open, but
Listen, great event.
yeah,
that.
good.
Yeah,
Very
okay.
good.
Particularly the 2011 winner. Is it 2011?
I've got,
Yeah,
I've
yeah.
got an idea, but it's a loose one.
Right.
Loose idea.
I topped the Challenge Tour rankings that year, age 20, becoming the youngest ever man to do so.
It's Challenge Tour's worldwide thing, isn't it? You can be from anywhere.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Doesn't give us a clue to this person's nationality.
It's more of like
they
it's a
played-
DP or like European Tour, like
although
feeder.
They won the par 3 competition in England, which seems like a very...
But it's always in England.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is the reason that tells me that this person must be from around
Oh, I
here
see.
somewhere.
Well, maybe.
Oh, yeah, never know. They've got planes and everything now.
Were they?
Yeah.
Bloody hell. I've never been in one of them.
No, nothing's
Okay.
really.
Tin can in the sky.
Yeah.
Sack it off.
Nothing's really
Hey,
coming to
Kieran, you
mind.
flew on your own.
Yeah, I did. to
Well
be
done.
fair. Thank you.
Did you
mate.
hold someone's
Thank
hand
you.
who was just sat next to you?
No, I didn't. I tried to speak to this Yorkshire lady and she wouldn't speak to me, so I just...
She was
stopped.
also crapping herself.
Yeah, no, she didn't really speak to me. So.
Go on.
Offered you
Got
some
a vibe.
tea.
Hit us to the next one.
Right, okay. I have won 5 times on the European Tour,
Well, it's not bloody what's his name then, is it?
DP World Tour.
DP.
What?
This could be it.
I.
This could be it. Core blimey.
No, it's not, is it?
Is it Tommy Fleetwood?
Oh, no way! Yes! Oh, fantastic!
Yes! Well done,
Wow, Mick wins. Amazing stuff.
mate. That was so good. The fact that you didn't get that.
So disappointed.
The first time that his name would sprung into my head was that last one with 5 European Tour wins,
Yeah.
because that was
Yeah.
starting getting into territory of things that I have in my
Wow.
mind about Tommy Fleetwood.
So
Wow.
part of me knew that he was gonna come up eventually.
Yeah.
And then when the par 3 came out and you mentioned that you knew the course, I was like, in my head, it was like, okay, so it's around here somewhere, right?
I don't think nowhere near it.
Well, it's in
in England.
Yeah. So and then I was like, okay, so it's an English player. And then when the 5 wins came out, I was like, I'm pretty sure Fleetwood has won 5 times.
I think there's been a few times where, and I don't know if this is now the my understanding of Kieran as a person, and I can kind of read him a little bit, is that as I was thinking then, I thought it's the last time he's doing it.
Yeah.
He probably wants to get Tommy Fleetwood in
Yeah,
because of that.
Yeah.
And
It
yeah,
was either that or Brooks.
Yeah.
I was really,
Wow.
really, I looked at both. And
Well,
his
the,
facts were a bit.
the announcement of 26 is I will not be returning because that's embarrassing for me.
he's
So
sucking it off.
yeah,
Well, now all the scores will be zeroed.
It will zero it out, and we'll shift mine over to Kieran. Very nice.
Thank you.
Oh, we just got to start again, haven't we?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
Have
yeah,
I
start
got
again,
to do
fresh.
something then?
No,
Have I got to do
no,
like
we'll
like
just
an
start
edit?
fresh.
Yeah, we'll do
What
like
the-
you're
Like a
editing it.
keyframe edit.
It's a podcast, mate. Everyone's listening.
Oh,
Don't
right,
worry.
yeah, that's true.
It's
Yeah.
fine, it's fine. Cool, awesome. Well, guys, thank you.
Well done, Nick.
So
Yeah, thanks.
much.
Yeah, well done.
well
Well
done,
done,
Nick.
I'm glad to have won this season of Guest the Player.
It was actually
Yeah,
genuinely.
but
It was-
it was kind of like a last goal win.
Yeah,
Right?
it was, yeah.
Oh, that was like 100 points.
Yeah.
All right.
You
Well
win.
done.
A little bit
You win
bonus.
everything.
I got
bonus.
5
The-
sixes on that.
The
over.
Tommy Fleetwood bonus.
Yeah.
Oh dear. Well, guys, thank you so much for your contribution. We are going to sit in some buckets of ice and continue.
All in the same bucket of ice,
Oh
actually.
yeah, and continue to discuss the future of golf. A huge thank you for listening and for watching. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. Make sure you follow this podcast on your favorite podcast provider. But most importantly, I hope you have a wonderful rest of the week. See you soon.
Someone's getting a driver soon.
Yeah, that's true.
that will be
Yes.
revealed in the next episode.
Is the next
of
episode?
season 2. Yeah.
Yes, great.
Broken stealth on the way.
We've got
Let's-
2 of them.
Let's wave down camera. Let's wave down the main camera.
Oh, just all down. Okay.
Just down.
Let it fade out.
Let it fade. Bye.